Welcome back to the Endeavors AI podcast. I'm Collin McKee, founder of Endeavors AI. We're an AI agency focused on helping operators and investors buy back their time by removing manual friction through practical AI automation. Today's conversation is about time, how it's lost and how it's protected, and how AI can actually give it back inside the venture capital firm while applied with discipline. And I'm joined by Ed Lafferty, CFO of Saturn Partners. This perspective matters very much because when AI really works, it shows up first in finance and operations, not in demonstrations. So great. Ed, great to have you, and thanks for being here.
Great to be here. Nice to see you, Colin.
Likewise. So before we get into AI, let's get a little bit of a framework and ground the listeners in your perspective. Can you briefly walk through your background, your role at Saturn, and how you think about execution inside the venture firm?
Sure. Saturn Partners we were Boston based originally. We had a traditional office like most VC offices, kind of an office structured with senior associates, junior associates, principals, and partners. And COVID taught us that we needed to do things a little differently. So right around COVID time, we decided to restructure our office because me and my two partners were getting tired of seeing just each other with nobody else showing up in the office. And everybody turned out to be on different work schedules. I mean, the work still got done, but it was just a different time. So that actually made us reflect on the business. We can get into this a little later when we talk about we've used AI. But we are an investor in early stage companies, primarily med tech and healthcare companies. And we've been doing this for a long time. We've been in business since the late '90s, early 2000s. We raised our first fund in 2001. We're a little different than a lot of VCs in a different aspect, is we have a broker dealer as well as venture capital funds. So we're able to directly invest in companies. We can allow shareholders to take that direct investment as well, or they can go through our funds. So we handle it a little bit different than everybody else.
Cool. And so you left the Boston area. You still have the headquarter office up there in Boston.
No, we don't. We actually, after COVID, like I said, we decided to do things a little different. I moved to St. Pete. My partner moved to, he's in Puerto Rico, just in the south part of Puerto Rico. And another one of my partners is still in Pittsburgh. That's where he
Okay.
was before and he stayed there now. What we've been able to do since then, we've been able to do what we do without our senior associate, junior associate principal structure. We've been able to do this through, outsourcing to experts, using our limited partner network to deal source and to help us analyze deals better. And of course, we've been able to use AI to pick up a lot of the slack that happens when you lose your support staff. So we've really incorporated AI, especially into our diligence procedures, into our legal. It's kind of gone into every aspect of what we do.
Okay. So before we dive into, I appreciate you leaning that direction. So from your seat, if people aren't careful and intentional about it, where in the venture space does time like quietly disappear? Where do people spend too much of their personal time uh, dealing with the day to day in venture capital?
A lot of the things you don't see in venture capital is a lot of people don't have a good perspective on it because they've never really been involved in the weeds. Um, a lot of time gets sunk into the decision making process and the diligence collection. Um, some deals they get over diligenced. You want to try to be. I mean, you're not investing just your money, so you want to be as careful as you can.
Sure.
But some people take that to the next level, and they overanalyze a lot of aspects of a business. And sometimes it's not just overanalyzing. Sometimes it's focusing on the wrong thing, and you spend too much time going down a rabbit hole.
Hmm.
A lot of people do that in analysis. That's where I see a lot of the time getting spent in the decision making process and in the internal politicking of getting your deal funded. That's another place that a lot of the time gets wasted
Yep.
in a VC business.
Kind of just this is how we've always done it, and this is how we're going to continue to do it, sort of thing.
That's sort of it, but politics plays a big part in which deals get selected. Sometimes the squeaky wheel does get the grease.
Hmm.
So a lot of that, AI has allowed people to be fact check on the fly, because a lot of people in politics and in VC, a lot of people have their spin, and AI has allowed you to check the spin in live time, which
Right.
is kind of helpful.
For sure. Yeah. Well, good segue. Let's kind of dive into the AI portion of it. Where have you seen, actual tangible outcomes? Where's AI genuinely been a benefit for Saturn? And where hasn't? So let's go with the positives first. Where have you been able to buy back time using AI?
Yes, I mean, first when we started to get it, of course, it's like any other new technology. You don't exactly trust it 100%.
Sure.
So you try it out in the kind of the low lying fruit areas, like the basic preparation of legal forms, things like that. Some industry analysis, kind of overarching industry analysis in most of our businesses, just to make sure that we're looking in the right places and we understand where different business trends are going. So that's kind of how we started out using it, and then as it got better and we got more comfortable with it, we started to use it more and more in different aspects of what we do.
Have you seen anywhere where it really hasn't been a benefit? It's more just been hype, and you've had to kind of revert and go back to the manual processes.
Um, I just think it's just like anything else. It's just like when you can be on, Twitter, you can go down a rabbit hole too much with your it can just cause you to waste time, because you keep asking the next question and asking the next question. And the next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock and you still don't have the answer you were really looking for.
Right.
So I think a lot of that is the human interaction with AI that just causes you to waste time. I mean, it does what it does. It's up to us to use it as a useful tool.
Right. Is there been anywhere that it surprised you, either positive or negative, how good or how not good that AI was in helping, say, diligence or finance or any of the process there in
We
evaluating?
don't. It's interesting. We don't use it a heck of a lot for finance. Most of our financial functions are, except for some of the financial analysis stuff, we'll use it for valuation to help us out with valuations, but we don't use it for the day to day blocking and tackling of accounting. That's kind of still manually done.
Okay.
But it's not really a time sink in a firm my size. We don't do a lot of it. But so it hasn't saved us anything there, and we really haven't even looked at it there. Maybe we should. Um, once we start to get into a more mature stage of our funds, when we start making distributions, maybe it'll be more useful in interpreting some of the legal documents to see what the distribution analysis look like. We haven't tried that yet, though. But
Yep.
we are using it mostly on the buy side, though. Identifying trends, identifying sectors, identifying the leaders in that sector. Right now I'm actually working with a group, and we're trying to identify businesses that could benefit from using AI. There's a lot of private equity type businesses that could be improved with the use of AI. Some of these older businesses that are very process oriented, that haven't thought about it, or maybe they've been doing, like you said, they've been doing it the same way. We think that is kind of that's an investment thesis, especially for private equity firms, when you get family owned businesses or businesses that have been around for a while that haven't really considered it.
Hmm. Sure. Yeah, it's a great point. Um, so let me take a quick pause, just talk to the audience real quick, do a little plug for the show. If you're enjoying the, the context here, I invite you to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, please comment. Please make any recommendations you might have for topics that you might like to see in the future. We're open to any kind of feedback. So, all right, back to execution. From a CFO perspective, buying back time can't come at the expense of control. So, how do you think about ROI, risk, and governance when AI enters core workflows? Have you given any thoughts to how, say, the compliance aspect might be a red flag if AI comes into it?
Um, yeah, because I think AI is way ahead of compliance. Um, we've been using AI. I mean, a lot of us see when we go into a Zoom call that there's a, record this call. and it creates a nice transcript for it. So,
Right.
we've been doing that. We've been taking our notes have all been automated that way. And that's saved us a lot of time.
Sure.
Also recording, if it's a shareholder meeting or a board meeting, but you typically can't use those notes as shareholder notes because I've read through shareholder notes and they sometimes I wonder if I was actually at that board meeting. They look so different.
Right.
Um, but they are very helpful in reminding us of what happened during that meeting. So we do use that in that aspect. But to get back to your question about compliance, we are actually FINRA broker dealers too, and FINRA still very much likes it when you put a signature on a document and say you read it. AI hasn't quite gotten there. I mean, they don't quite, and it's not that AI hasn't gotten there. It's that FINRA doesn't quite trust that AI has gotten there.
Okay.
And then that's an SEC and a FINRA thing. And I think eventually they'll get there. They're typically a little bit behind when it comes to that things because they have to. I mean, they have governance and they also have to get this thing through their different bureaucracies to get it approved. So it takes a while to get through FINRA's approval process. But that's one thing that we're noticing is we can review private placement memorandums, and we can review, our policy manuals using AI. But FINRA still wants us to put a signature on the book saying we read it. So it's not entirely helpful yet.
Fair. Good question or good answer. I appreciate that. So, turning now to your portfolio, because obviously you guys keep a watchful eye on their operations as well. Have you been able to? Are you seeing any patterns in your portfolio when it comes to buying back time with AI? Or are you encouraging them to utilize that as a way to increase efficiencies? Or speak on that?
All of our companies are utilizing AI, both in their internal processes and in many of their products. The predictive analytics of AI is very helpful in a lot of their products. Um, but it's not only something that's helped them streamline kind of their internal processes, but it's also helped reduce a lot of costs too, which is great. I mean, that this is exactly what we want. You reduce some headcounts, improve some efficiencies. One of our company and what and our companies being medical companies, many of them have used AI in order to shorten some of the testing processes that they have for their medical devices.
Sure.
You know, and I think eventually we're going to see clinical trial tests shorten because I think AI will be helpful, especially in the predictive analytics piece to possibly reduce sample size, reduce time required to get results, all that kind of stuff. Eventually, we'll hopefully, see our drug costs come down because I know it costs a heck of a lot of money to get through a phase 3 trial.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about learning patterns, right? And that's the vast majority of that study and skill set. So
Yeah.
one would hope, one would
Yeah. I
hope.
mean, years ago, I was at Carnegie Mellon University and they were mapping the human genome. And this was years ago. They had developed a whole, database to do this. And it was early AI using it to predict, outcomes of a population of different drugs. And this was probably in 2018 or 2017 when they were really trying to get to this. It's come a long way.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it still was artificial intelligence in a way, kind of group learning or machine learning at that time. We just didn't call it that. And we didn't talk about
Yeah.
it in every
Right.
sentence of every
Right.
conversation we do
It,
today.
it has become overblown, hasn't it?
It has. It has.
Yeah.
It's something that it just gets slapped on everything nowadays.
Yeah.
And
It does.
sifting through the wheat and the chaff is kind of the point of this show, right? Is to see where the good, bad, and the ugly, and where the practical lies.
Yeah, it's interesting. Many of our products, because of the predictive analytics that go into this, and I hate to keep repeating that, but it's true, has actually made the customer experience on many of our products better. It's getting people where they want faster, where they want to go faster. It's getting them the information that they need sooner. I mean, a lot of this is, as good as the customer puts in, input that they provide. So, you have to give honest information to get honest feedback, but it works great. And I think we're getting a better customer experience from it.
I would agree. So obviously, the founders are using AI in that field. It's kind of table stakes. Is there anywhere that you see room for improvement in your portfolio? If you had to say, "Hey, having a team meeting across the portfolio, we know you're utilizing AI. This is one way that you should be using it a little bit more so." Say in 2026, use AI, to kick it up a notch in this particular practice.
Yeah, I don't think it's use it more or use it less. I think it's where you use it. You
Okay,
know, I think a lot of people are just, like I said, using it the wrong way. A lot of people aren't using it to their advantage to save themselves time. They're using it to sound smart in meetings. I mean, for the wrong reasons. Um, I think human nature takes over, and we all want to be the smart guy in the room, and not realizing that everybody else has that same access to the same information. So let's just know our role and let's just get shit done,
right.
rather than trying to impress everybody. Um, because you're not impressing anybody, because we all know where you got it, right? Um, and there's a fine line of using it too, because I think people understand that when they get an email or they get a document that's been written in AI, I think most people know it, because we have conversations with people. And if that vocabulary doesn't come out of your mouth normally, I know that you AI'd that letter and it wasn't from you.
Right, right.
So not to be a high school teacher, but you got to be authentic some of the times too.
Yeah, yeah. That reinforces, it's a tool to buy back your time, but it's not about the tools, it's about the execution, right? It's how you use it. It's not what
100%.
you and how often you use it. Um, So great. Yeah. Looks like there's a real opportunity ahead for venture capital firms to buy back time, to make themselves more efficient and proficient and focus on the core of their business. And that's encouraging to see. As we wrap up, is there anything that you would tell, say, other venture capital firms to start doing, or to stop doing, as it comes to AI applications in their business, or to be careful of? I
I
mean,
would
that
say I would suggest that they all embrace AI as at least as a guide to get them through diligence, to get them into it. It will greatly help you analyzing markets. It'll greatly help you analyzing sectors in those markets, and it will also point you in the direction of the companies that you should be looking at. It's very helpful in that. It'll help you test your thesis, your investment theses. Um, so use it for that purpose, and you'll be able to not only get more with less out of your senior associates and your associates, but you'll also be able to analyze more data. Um, Rather than take rifle shots at sectors, you'll be able to take a kind of a shotgun approach, and analyze a whole bunch more sectors at once and point yourself in the right direction. I think that's one way to use it, and I think we all need to be open minded about using it as a substitute for a lot of redundant processes, and a lot of things that are kind of like let's just say, for example, legal documents and things like that. It does a great job at a lot of the stuff that you used to call your lawyer for. And it's really helpful, and it can really help you save some costs, at least initially, and it'll get you going in the right direction. I mean, you should never substitute for legal advice, but at least it points you in the right direction.
great advice. So for all you operators and investors out there listening, listen to what Ed had to say. I second that. Endeavors AI, we build workflows to help buy back time. So you could always reach out to us at endeavorsai.com. And if you're looking to grow your business, please do reach out to Ed Ed. Where can people find you, and to learn more about Saturn Partners?
Our website is saturnpartnersvc.com. There's links there to get in touch with me and to get in touch with my partner as well.
Great. Excellent. Well, Ed, thank you again for joining the Endeavors AI podcast. It's been a pleasure. And we look forward to catching up with you soon.
Good pleasure. Thanks for having me, Colin. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Take care.